All right. Hey, boys and girls. What is going on, my friends? How is everybody doing tonight? Hey, I got a new subscriber. What's up, Tech Boy? Welcome to the membership. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I really do. You can now check out my members lives. Last one was Saturday, so hope you can enjoy it. And yeah, go check it out and let me know what you think. I appreciate the feedback. Subscriber. What's going on? Let's see who was first tonight. It's not telling me who was first. Who's first? Can I see over here? Seventh Heaven says Dubois, so he must have been first. That's the first comment I see. But what's going on, everybody? Hope we had a good day. It was Tuesday. Nothing too crazy today, but we do have plenty to talk about, so that's what's good. What's up, Old Finds AC? Brenda, Al, P-Man, Tina, what is going on? WV, waiting for the Christmas present. I know. You and us and all of us. Capote, what's going on? Lone Wolf, you guys all talking about the movie? We're going to talk about this movie. I cannot help myself, so you guys, I don't know who all watched it. Oh, you're watching as we speak. Nice, Frank. Listen, if you watch the movie, you know there's stuff to talk about. It's not the greatest movie in the world. It's not like one of those you have to see it kind of movies, but it is very interesting. Very interesting. Especially if you believe what I do, that Hollywood tries to communicate messages to us all the time. It's called predictive programming. And yeah. Now, I also believe sometimes when there are times when they just want to tell a story. And if you guys have been watching my member lives, you know that sometimes I also believe that God kind of jumps in front of them and tells a story instead. And so that's what you need discernment for. But anyways, having said that, we'll talk about the movie in a little bit. We're going to cover GTI Finger market news first, and then we'll finish by going through this movie, breaking down some crazy things. I watched it today, and I've done some research, and it's very interesting. Oh no, Tucker Carlson's. I'm competing with Tucker. That's not good. That's probably why my viewership's down like half right now. I usually have about 250, 300 right now. So that's okay. I get you. Watch Tucker. The movie's called Leave the World Behind. It just came out 2 days ago on Netflix. Wild stuff. Oh, you're first. YouTube's screwing around again. That's not cool. I better make sure my email. Oh yeah, my internet is blazing tonight, so I should have no issues. The one, it's not even showing you first. How messed up is that? The first comment I can see is Seventh Heaven. So they bleeped out a bunch of your guys' comments. Not cool. What's up, WV, Kathy, Gretchen? Happy anniversary. Thank you so much. My wife is at work. Our anniversary was we got to go out for lunch, but we're planning a little getaway back in January. So one of the beautiful things about being married 15 years and in a good relationship is that there's no pressure. We talked and we decided January is better for us to get away. Usually we would get away here in December, but this December has just been crazy. So, but thank you for the anniversary wishes. You guys were so sweet last night and tonight. And yeah, but I'm spending my anniversary evening with you guys. So that's fun. So the deer in the movie, well, there's some interesting stuff on deer. Tucker's a millionaire and he's offer free membership. Well, you don't stay a millionaire if you offer everything free. I don't begrudge anybody making money. I mean, in fact, I have a paid membership tier. It'd be rude of me to criticize Tucker for it. XRQ talking to Al. Yeah, the movie. We're not going to be talking about if the movie was amazing or not. I thought it was fine. It was interesting. It kept me watching the whole time. The actors were great. The direction was interesting. The music was creepy. It was interesting. You were 6th, 7th, and 8th, Thomas. Well, that's what I saw first. So I'm more informative than Tucker. Wow, David, that's that's a huge huge compliment. I would say that maybe for those of us who've already been woken up, but guarantee you Tucker is so important because he's speaking to a lot of people who aren't woke up yet, and he's spreading that news. So Rosie says, wait, Tucker's on? She's going to ditch me. The movie was about hedgies trying to avoid paying us. I like that. The Ace heads are here. I like that. No competition, Ace. Oh, well, Darren, that is very sweet of you. What's up, Moody? B of A's in trouble. Yeah, there's a lot of things in trouble. Where you can go squeeze it. I know, George. Trust me, I dream about it all the time. Yeah, Moody. Apparently my first 5, 6 comments were erased already, because usually I can always see who's first. And if I scroll up, the earliest comment I can see is 7th, which is just weird. Listen to Dan Bongino. Yeah, Dan Bongino's good. Happy anniversary, says David. Love should be simple and easy with a little bump from time to time. Yeah, I mean, well, happy anniversary is, marriage is not, it's simple, but it's not easy. How about that? It's, my wife and I, we've had some mostly good times, but we had some real rough times for a while. And for a few years, I went into a deep depression after, a great betrayal in my life, from somebody. And, it blindsided me so badly that it set me off for a couple of years. And, anyways, I was in such a bad place. I'll be honest, I almost lost my wife, but I got my crap together, got some help, figured out how to be a man and stop being a little wuss, got my crap together. And now we're doing probably the best we've ever done. So if Tucker talked about MMTLP, GTI, and Finger, they'd be over in a week. I guarantee that. What's up, Croissant? It's still in the casino? How long are you going to be there? You live there now? Rosie, you're a dude? I didn't know that. Okay. Sorry, Rose. I always thought you were a girl because of Rosie. That's funny. See, this is why I shouldn't just be throwing out guys and gals and but it is what it is. Is GTI going up? I think GTI is got something good coming soon. Did you guys hear Ham today though? Apparently the Kramers are so desperate, they're putting together plans to try to get something else going. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's desperation. That's bad news. I can't remember everything he said, but very interesting stuff. He said something about another broker or something like that, but must be Alpine's about to collapse. So that's really good news. Matt, you're not going to be training. Well, I appreciate that. Honey Badger, now it'll be a race to be 7th in line. Would be interesting to have Tucker on. Tucker would never come on my show. Are you kidding me? He's in the cool kids club. See, Arca seems to think February is bullish month for GTI in the past. I guess we'll see. If you guys who've been watching me, you know that I had a feeling that November was a sham as how the markets did well. I thought it might correct in December, and in the beginning of the month it showed signs the market. I had a feeling that if the market corrected in December the way I was hoping it would, GTI would have a run. I really did. But I still was always afraid they'd push it. They'd push the Santa rally. They'd drag up the last bit of reserves and everything they had to throw at the market. And that's what it seems to be doing now. We've had back-to-back days where the Dow is over 140. It's green. And they are pushing this Santa rally that's completely fake. But because of that, the liquidity is still out there for them to short all of our stocks. So in my opinion, I really do not believe they make this past February, March. To me, the late winter, early spring is going to be key. It's going to be key times of weakness. Maybe even after the first pass in January, we might have seen it immediately. But I believe Q1 of next year is going to be extremely hard on the market. One of the reasons they're able to push this rally right now is because they believe, well, whether they believe it or not, they're convincing and trading based on the assumption that the Fed is going to cut rates in March, which is complete insanity. Inflation came in a little higher above expectations. Now, some of the areas it was right at expectations, but it's holding strong. And that's not good news for the market. But they're convincing themselves still that he's going to cut soon. I think tomorrow, I think tomorrow the Fed's going to pause. I do, but I'm kind of hoping Powell comes in and breaks something. I'm kind of hoping he comes in, blows everybody out of the water, and freaking raises it another 25 BPS. That would be awesome, because what it would do, it will send the markets into a tizzy, because they are completely bought in on this narrative that he's going to cut soon. So having said all that, as soon as that starts happening, that's when GTI is going to raise. And I feel like it's really soon. Did Ham say Alpine was completely shut down? Wow. Okay. Well, there it is. I missed that. Yep. No one knows when to go, but did I call you a Woo's Seinfeld joke? What's a Woo's Seinfeld joke? For the Republic, whoever gifted me a subscription last night, very kind, back to the movie, watch the replay. All right, For the Republic, have a good night, man. Any more info about the weird swap? I did not get to look into that. I didn't find the time. I watched that movie today instead, and I left that information on my home computer, not my work computer, so I didn't know how to access it from home. I mean, from work. Kramer. Laura Loomer's on? She's great. Ace, don't discount yourself. Tucker may have a peek at your chat and find an interest. Maybe. I'm not big enough, though. You got to at least have 10,000, 50,000 people watching you before that point. I'm still just a little blip in the water, little drip. Goodwill says, I think we're close to GTI prices. Make us regret not buying at 48. That's awesome, Goodwill. So you're seeing good stuff in the chart. I'm sorry your December 11th prediction didn't happen, man. I was ready for it. I think we run by 80 by Christmas. That'd be amazing. Rosie, hopefully Finger earnings should give it a surge if it doesn't run before then. Oh, yeah, we'll have positive earnings in January, so that'll be really good. Kramer shouldn't be able to do nothing but pay way up. Jorge, happy anniversary. Wishing you the best. More and more years. Buy your new Lexus SUV. The problem is with the Lexus SUV is they won't seat all my kids. I got 6 kids. So you know what? This will tell you a lot about my wife. Her dream car is one of those big old buses. You know, like the Ford Astro or whatever it is. She wants one of those, except she wants the oh man, what is the car called? Volvo one. And that's what she wants. Isn't that funny? She doesn't want something fancy. She wants something big. So that's how weird we are. Thanks, Mark. Happy anniversary. I appreciate it. Praying for a massive break of something from Powell. That'd be, I mean, he's got to, in my opinion, Powell has got to kind of do something to strong arm these markets and show them that you guys don't know what you're talking about. Because I feel like it's time for him to just throw a punch at him. Goodwill says, I hope it stays a little longer in January when I get my next distribution on GFS stocked. Oh, that'd be nice. Real estate in California down 20 to 25%. Wow. Moody, if Alpine shut down, how's GTI still being held down by the shorts? Great question. It's obviously not shut down yet, but it must be close. Inflation's cooling off. Well, not this round. You're right that inflation has cooled off a little bit, but it's still at 4 in some metrics. I can't remember if CPI or if it was year over year, month over month, but it was at 4 and then it was at 3.1, which is still too high. They want to get it down to 2. And it's not like prices haven't corrected by going back yet. They're still just raising on top of it. So it's continuing to go up. Chinese real estate stocks down 68% or 65%. Wow. What's up, Carl? You said week of 12-11. Okay. Sorry, Goodwill. Al says, I'm not a little blip. I've been coming here. Oh, man, you guys are too nice. Thank you. I appreciate that, Al. Eric just spoke with Joe Rogan. He says, Rogan signed a $100 million contract. I want to be like him. Pimped out. What about Disney's getting sued again? Are they? I didn't see that. Partridge Family Bus. That's right. Yeah. Not buying a Tesla. No. Oh yeah. That part's crazy with all the self-driving Teslas. They all crashed. JR says, we had an old church bus for a while when I was a kid. I had 2 adults, 7 kids on my mom's side. Wow. Wow. That's crazy, man. Were you one of 7? Goodwill, my Pepere joined the Marines today in 1941, fought on Guadalcanal, Saipan. Wow, that's crazy. November CPI 3.1. There was a 4 in there. I can't remember if it was, it might have been the month over month or some, maybe it wasn't CPI, maybe it was PPI, but there was a 4 I saw in my numbers. In fact, let me look it up here. I know I saw a 4 in the inflation data today. You know what really covers this well is Kobisi. Let me see what Kobisi said. I will pull this up in just a second. Yeah, here we go. See? I know what I'm talking about, guys. November CPI inflation falls to 3.1. Core CPI unchanged at 4. See? So core CPI is at 4. So I was right. I remembered. Mark wanted to tell me again a great job I did on the SEC fraud video. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, please share that video, guys. You finally quit watching. Good for you, James. You've hit a new point. You've hit a new point. You're starting to find peace. Finger to 150 by New Year's. That'd be incredible. Any updates for Capybara? No. Yeah, Alpine's not shut down yet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I just got water I'm drinking tonight. Where do they get so much money after losing billions listen, because they keep creating it and they're just paying fees. So the hedge funds that lost all that money, first of all, that's not our guys. At least probably a very small percent of that is our guys, is what I should say. That's all together. So just remember that. And you got to remember that the biggest shorts in the world, they are worth billions and billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, way more than, you know, these little funds like the Kramers or whatever, who maybe at their heyday were $100 million. So it's not like they're completely wiped out. And in fact, I haven't seen any of them wiped out, but it was just a sum total. So those numbers can be misleading sometimes, but because it is so spread out, but they're still losing. So that it just keeps going, and then eventually they'll burn out. Hope MMTP ends up like the ending of the movie, The Burial. Alpine Fin article dropped on 12/8 on Investor Hub. Oh, Goodwill. I haven't checked my email in a week, so I'll go back and look at that. JR, you're one of 10? All half brothers and sisters, dad, mom married 3 times each. Holy cow. 52 and 27 you were born? Jeez. And you still grew up mostly with him. Wow. That's quite the upbringing, JR. I bet you got stories, man. You know, whatever you think of Alex Jones, if he did pick up our story, it would change things very, very quickly. So I'd be all in favor of that for sure. Let me bring up some of the things I wanted to show tonight. Let's see here. That one. I got one more. I think it's this one. And yeah, here we go. All right, so check this out. This is how fraudulent our markets are, despite everything we've been going through the last few months. NASDAQ, same level where it peaked in 2021. That was that last monster rally. I mean, that it honestly makes me sick. We're close to hitting all-time highs again. And it should make you guys sick too. It's just so unbelievably fraudulent, because like the very next thing is, you know, him talking about, let me pull this up, repeating this, but this is an oil collapse no one saw coming. You guys should read this. Go to Finance Lots. I don't want to read it all right now, but the idea is I've done it on our show, but it's all very similar conditions to what we're going through now. If oil collapses again, it's trouble, because those stocks are traded by so many people, seen as a safe place for their stocks. The oil prices are always a sign of a declining economy. It's bad news, real bad news. And this one I thought was really interesting. Evidence we're in the same 14-year economic cycle that began in 2009. So 2009 began the economic cycle after the collapse, or actually this was the worst part of it. And even though 2008 got all the attention because that's when Bush did the TARP and everything, and the banks collapsed, that got all the attention, but things actually were getting worse throughout 09, 10. I believe the unemployment rate peaked at 10% in 2010. But it said multiple job holders now exceeds 2019 and is back on the linear trend. Having the stock market with $5 trillion in 2020 only benefited the top 1%. And you can see his charts here. Just this trend is wild right here. I mean, this is just it's the cycles, man. I mean, this is coming out of here down. I mean, we're headed right back down again. It's just crazy. It's the same loop. This is just, I think things are about to get really bad, but thankfully we're all in counter market plays, so should be really good for us. And I still greatly believe on that, but it's important to pay attention to all this, because we also want to be able to warn others. And I know it's hard to talk to people about this stuff because you don't want to just be like, hey, do you know the economy sucks? I mean, how do you start that conversation, right? But I do believe it's time to, like, if you have loved ones or people who you can have conversations with, I do believe it's time to start trying to have some conversations with people, because I just think it's about to get really bad, guys. I really do. I wanted to share some I did today, which was really interesting, if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So this is kind of interesting. So I was having a little chat with ChatGPT today, and I just was kind of feeding it all the information, what's going on. And it right now, ChatGPT can only go through April 2024, right? So I asked it to go up to April 2024 with its own stuff, and then I told him everything's gotten worse since then, and I put this in, and this was a long chat, guys, so just so you know, I worked up to this. But finally I asked, would this be a warning sign for you if all these factors that I've already been talking about gotten worse? I mentioned housing, I mentioned credit levels tightened, I mentioned the inflation, I told it, I just fed it all this data, and then I just asked it if this was a warning sign to you. And it says, if since April 2023, economic conditions worsen in several key areas, scenario would indeed be considered a warning sign. And it says down here, in summary, if most economic indicators showing negative trends, the stock market remains only positive outlier would indeed be a significant warning sign. Significant warning sign. This is where we're at. Okay. Suggests a disconnect between stock market performance, broader economy's health, signals potential challenges ahead. Economic policymakers, analysts will be what. Anyways, that's interesting. Even ChatGPT can see through it. So I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to share that with you to get guys today. Where are we at? JR, you ate government cheese and used food stamps, said, I ain't living like this forever, out of my own 16. Wow, man. Self-made man. I'd love to talk to you about that someday. Movie I was talking about, it's called Leave the World Behind on Netflix. It just got up. What do you want me to put up for content, Goodwill? Oh, Advisor Hub. Yeah, I'm going to go through it, and then I'll bring it up tomorrow. Nice, Marcel. Joe, thought Bongino was picking up our story. Well, if you hear a story like that from somebody, and you're a guy, you got producers, you have a team who does all this research, you probably tell somebody, look into this and get back to me when you have information. And so if he's going to do a story on it, it probably takes a few weeks. Yeah, operation has expiry this Friday. Each time AMC is ran, it was 7 days post OPEX. I have high hopes for a market rally next week. Interesting. $999 trillion in swaps due this Friday. Wow, that's crazy. How fraudulent shows pics of Bernie Madoff. Yeah, that's crazy. That's funny. Elon Musk following you on Twitter. What? The real one? That's awesome. Al says, I don't believe oil collapse. Trump will bring it back with Joe Baby Drill, boost our economy. Well, I mean, we got a year away, even longer before he'd be in office, even if he gets elected. So do I agree with you that we'll go back to Joe Baby Drill and we'll get the economy back on energy independence? I 100% believe that. But it's we got to get through an election, and then we got to wait 3 months till he becomes till he get in office. So it's going to take time. So it could collapse before then. Goodwill says, all about FINRA and other SROs, precedent being set by Alpine. FINRA will be a landmark case in financial regulation. I do agree with that. Also, the SEC case before the Supreme Court right now is actually going to, it's really going to change everything. I personally believe that this economic case before that for the Supreme Court is going to be ruled that it's going to strip several regulatory agencies of their ability to enforce without a trial by jury, which is great. That's what the Constitution, that's what the Founding Fathers wanted for our country. They didn't want this regulatory BS where an organization can just fine you when it has, whenever it feels like it. That's wrong. It's wrong. And even if it slows things down a little bit, overall, it's better for everybody. That power would be taken away. So I think that's coming. If you've watched Not Legal's videos on it, I think it'd be hard to conclude otherwise. And also knowing who's in the Supreme Court right now, where it's a 5 conservative majority with a 6 he's a swing vote, but he's mostly conservative. I don't see any way it doesn't go back to the 7th Amendment. So Bank of America lent $400 million to Citadel. That's crazy. Honey says, wouldn't be surprised they roll those swaps out again. Maybe. Space Call Tucker's amazing. I'm going to listen to that later for sure. John Daly recounts playing golf with Trump and Clinton cheated. I got to hear that story. Tom's, when the Secret Service busts the stock market criminals, hopefully they impose asset forfeiture. That would be amazing. Social, have I heard anything from Mark B about tomorrow's Finger Cabrera federal case? No, I haven't. They were supposed to respond. Everybody does not believe they will respond because, they're crooks. They have nothing to really gain from responding. So nobody believes they'll respond. And then 1 week from tomorrow, it'll be automatically ruled upon, which means they'll be shut down because there's no way if they don't show up, the court's going to defend them. Yeah, no more BS immunity. Exactly, Thomas. You're so numb and emotionally damaged at this point. All I can do is hold. Well, don't. I understand the pain. I understand it's hard, but don't go into that place where you just accept being numb and emotionally damaged because you don't have to be. Look, I'm numb to it too because it's been hard, but I'm not emotionally damaged. That's the difference. I don't consider myself emotionally damaged. I feel like I've fought really, really hard to maintain my mental peace and sanity, and so that's key. You got to find a way to do that, and so try to find a way to get that back. We all need to be in a good place so that when it does finally run, you're not just so shocked you make mistakes. You're actually ready for it. What's up, Richie? Jury finds financial fraud be much bigger. Yeah, I agree with that too. Absolutely. None of these get out of jail free fines where they fine Citadel $7 million for a major offense. That's just insanity. Al, maybe there are enough we the people to hold the line. Oh, I believe we'll hold the line. I do. I just think it's going to be hard. I think that 2024 is going to be an economic disaster. I really do. I feel like we're going to go in a really bad place economically. I think that I would not be surprised if the Middle East erupts into more of a war that's frankly sad and drains on us. I don't think we'll get involved with troops, but it'll be probably like Ukraine, but more. Yeah, I think 2024 is going to be rough. I really do. But I think we're going to get through it, and it'll be much better coming out of it. Yeah, they're going to try to rig the election, but I read a great post today that said last time it took everything they had to rig that election because it was already pushing belief that Biden got 81 million votes, which I completely agree with. They had to go way out of their way to make it happen. This time, Trump is way more popular than he was in 2020. Polling is way more. He's polling the best he ever has. Many of the swing states tightened up their financial laws, making it much harder for cheating. And on top of that, I just think it'll be more overwhelming for them to do it. So I do not believe they'll pull it off this time. Your brother-in-law caddied for Clinton and he cheated? Oh, that's crazy. Frank, did KG incriminate him by publicly admitting his involvement in regulating the market? I don't know. Ken Griffin, I believe you mean. I don't know if they consider that incriminating or not. They probably don't. Smart lawyers will, get him talked out of it. But it's enough to be watched. I would say that. Yeah, it's crazy. 3.9 total billion Citadel owes. That's nuts. Blake, nice to catch you. Thank you, sir. Looks like we're ready to rip some shorts apart. I do believe it. We're hitting those levels where I think we've got them on the ropes. Let me put it that way. And I know, and if you guys have been listening to him, you know too that Finger and GTI have plans, and they are working stuff together. I think stuff is going to happen really soon. We're going to get some good news really soon. I really do. Don't look at the price through brokerage app. Get Yahoo. You'll be a better mental space. That's one way of doing it. I do it through CNBC. It works for me. Capybara will shut down, bounce back as Forkabara. Moody, plaintiff will not recover damages from Capybara. Hopefully he'll send a message. Exactly right. Big JR, you went to a board game party once with high rollers. Bill Clinton? No, shut up. Okay, that is definitely not a true story, JR. But that's funny. That is funny. And if that is a true story, that's wild. Elegant, been holding so long, holding for high numbers you want will be much easier to plan back for. Well, that's true, right? You're just numb to the process. Goodwill, you can't unsee what you know all the way back to FOIA, DTCC backtesting charges, or selling until they have to buy at a low price. Absolutely. Yeah, well, the only way Biden would win this time is if he got, I would say 95 million, 93 million, somewhere in that range. And it's impossible. Nobody would ever believe it. It would be such a suspension of belief. Plus, that's an extra 12 million they'd have to rig on top of last time. Plus, they'd actually have to rig more because he's going to get less real votes than he got last time because people are fed up. There's just no way. It's an impossible task. It really is. What's up with GTI and Finger? NSA would move up the hundreds, but not now. Why? Well, give it time, NSA. Nobody said when, but the story hasn't changed. And because the story hasn't changed, we're still here. And I tell you what, over the course of the last year, when I've been blessed to become a figure in this community that regularly talks to hundreds of people almost nightly, and has talked to thousands of people over the course of the year, I can tell you what, I have yet to meet more than 5 people who have sold. And those 5 people who sold, most of them did because of emergency, and they didn't, they were planning on getting back in. So this is a group that is not going anywhere. They are educated. They are not messing around, and we have them trapped. So it's coming. It will come. Do I think B of A loans should deal the billions because of approximately 11% they have in B of A stock? I bet that has something to do with it, huh? Patrick Burns says whistleblower came forward on election fraud. Interesting. I can't wait to see that. The show is a subliminal messages. Yep. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute here. JR, you haven't told me yet if that story is true, because that was wild. Colonel Mustard self off 30 strikes in the head with a lead pipe in the forehead. What's that Hillary Clinton meme that's like, you're about to get suicided or something like that? Don't mess with me, you'll get suicided. It was so funny. All right. Okay, I wanted to share a couple things, and then we're going to go through this movie, because this movie is nuts. One thing I wanted to look at first is I saw this the other day, which I felt was very interesting. And I don't know if my guy who hates Bitcoin's on here tonight, but I just stumbled across this post. It's a video of John McAfee talking about crypto, and I love what he had to say about it. And I don't know who all knows who McAfee was. Brilliant guy, technological genius, all about privacy and total libertarian, but also had a lot of receipts on people, and the way he died was very mysterious, and obviously was like a deep state op. But anyways, this video surfaced of him talking about crypto, so I want to play it real quick, and then I'll answer questions, whatever, and then we'll go into the movie breakdown real quick. George, how many retail people do I think are holding both GTI and FNGR total? I think it's in the somewhere in the 50 to 75,000 range would be my guess. Old Finds, right, and protesting around election time. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. I hope not. Vince, I'm acting like Democrats care what Americans think. It's not just Democrats, man. It's all the establishment. The Republicans, too. The high up ones. But, so I'll say I'm acting like I care what the establishment thinks. Impeachment, Trump and court. Well, I know, but here's the thing. Those all, for people who watch the regular media, those all are not shocking enough to be suspend belief, except for a lot of those things have been waking people up. I remember when Trump started getting indicted, there were several people who said, that's it, I'm done. This is clearly something else. So this is where I disagree with you, Vince. That stuff has been waking people up this whole time. And they do care what people think, but they also are desperate, which is why, listen, if they didn't care what people thought, they would have gone hardcore into making this nation, this world into what they wanted years and years and years ago. They would have really pushed it. But instead they did it nice and slow because they wanted to keep the masses at peace and at bay. And it's not working anymore because too many people woke up, and it's continuing to wake up because they're getting more and more desperate. So they do care about what people think. Now, do I think they're going to try? Absolutely. But there comes a point where it's impossible. It's too big a task. And that's what I think is going to happen. Ace, don't forget to tell 1.5 million followers on my holiday special. Someday, maybe. We'll see. Lost his pirate hat, I know, right? What's up, Katie? FYI, McAfee did not kill himself. That's true. Is the pattern the same to the shorts cover William C. Moon? Asking for a friend. I love it. Yeah, well, yes, no. There you go. My opinion, Republicans equal Democrats and Democrats equal Republicans. I would agree with you mostly, George. The one difference I'd say is that I think the entire Democratic Party, not the people, but the entire Democratic Party has been completely overtaken, whereas the Republicans, it's more like 75%, and there's a 25% remnant that is fighting within. Now the people of the Republican Party are now almost fully MAGA. It's like 60 to 80% MAGA. And so the people are MAGA people in the Republican Party now, and the Republican establishment just isn't willing to give up their hold yet. But and the reason I say that is because there are true patriots in our government that are Republicans. Rand Paul, Matt Gaetz, there are some. There's probably, if I really broke it down, looked through it all, I could probably find 25, 30 of them. So, yeah, so there you go. I did look at the swaps all right, you guys, but I did not get the chance to really deep dive the way I wanted because I left it on this computer and I didn't take the information with me away from home. So I didn't have time to deep dive it. I'm going to do it tomorrow, hopefully. GTI 1000. Big JR, excellent McAfee documentary, which he is in most of with a film crew who tells the whole story. Oh, I'd love to watch that. Okay, I've been talking enough. Let's watch this real quick.
So what's actually happening here, people? Every so often, and very rarely, a clash of old and new cultures brought about by technology changes civilization. Cryptocurrencies is one of these technologies, and probably the most dramatic to have occurred in human history since the invention of fire. Why? Because cryptocurrencies free the individual from the yoke of currency controlled by governments, which controls us and our lives. Now, cryptocurrency is coming. It's out of the box. It's being used, and privacy coins are here. Governments see what's coming, and it terrorizes them. Governments will not be able to collect taxes when everyone is using privacy coins for their currency. And it is happening now. I'm on the forefront of this. I was the first to voice this ultimate reality which is here upon us now. Governments will disappear as we know them. They will shrink of necessity because they will not be able to fund the excess that they are doing now. I warned of this. I'm on the stage constantly saying it's coming, and I also say it's a good thing. It brings us freedom. For the first time in human history within a government, freedom, financial freedom, which is the foundation of others. So I am being cut down as one of the tallest trees in this forest as a warning to everyone else. And I'll be coming on later with others to explain what's going to be happening with my campaign.
Isn't that wild? He didn't even know how prophetic that is. They're cutting me down as one of the tallest trees in the forest, and they killed him. I mean, they killed him. We all believe it. That's crazy. And what the things he said about it's financial freedom, we won't have to pay taxes on it. And also, he said something that just fascinated me. He said they will not be able to continue the excess they are doing now. I don't know when this video came out. I'm guessing it came out 5-10 years ago, but he called it. The excess of the government continued getting worse and worse and worse, more and more and more, and they are running out of money. They just are. The government was $600 billion behind on tax receipts this year. We just got word that California next year is projecting a $68 billion less tax receipts. They are running out of money in the government, which is another reason we're going to have to go through this recession. I believe it's coming up. So, anyways, just crazy. I saw that video and I had to share it with you guys. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't hit me with it. But, you guys know that my SEC fraud video I just put out got dinged by YouTube. They took away the monetization on it. They said that, it was too controversial to run ads on. There you go. I was like, this controversial? I presented facts about the market, like whatever. Yep, Niners clinched. It was awesome. Did I see the video of a doctor talking to Jesse Ventura back in 2009? I don't think I did. Oh, Running with It. It's on Netflix. Okay. But will Netflix show everything? That's the question. That was John McAfee, Vince. KGI watched that live? Who's KGI? Any 411 on Finger, Thomas? I've already talked about it a little bit. The only thing we know is that they're working on a deal, and I'm expecting to hear something any day now. The one other thing I'll say is that Ham was hinting a lot at a dividend today. So with his ticket, his golden ticket posts, everything. So maybe Finger's working on that, and maybe we're going to get word on it soon. So. What right-wing conspiracy are we? Don't forget to vote for the dictator. Fred. That was stupid. Why are you saying dumb stuff? They are not running out of money. They're on the verge of selling Alaska and Hawaii. They're not going to sell Alaska and Hawaii and Cantrix. That's a very interesting theory you have, but that is not going to happen. There's no way. For one thing, Alaska especially is you could not put a price on how much Alaska's worth because of its resources. The resources of Alaska are insane. They're worth more than any price you could fetch for it, between the oil, everything else. So, no, Zachariah, there's just a lot of golden ticket talk on. That's interesting. Fred's comment is on here, but not on there. I wonder if I blocked him back in the day and it just came through my other filter. Huh. anyways, Zachariah, Ham was just tweeting a lot about Golden Ticket, and Ham calls dividends golden tickets because of what happened with Overstock. And when he used to tweet about Golden Ticket, we got one in GTII, and now he's tweeting about it again. So I think we're going to be, maybe we'll see something in Finger. They're not selling Alaska, Josh. There's no way. Alaska is so valuable. It is insanely valuable to us. What am I drinking tonight? Just water tonight, guys. I'm trying to only drink on the weekends right now since the holidays. It's the only way I could keep my weight down. I like eating too much. Not selling if anything, they'll annex Canada. Yeah, maybe that's possible. Maybe. I don't think I don't think Canada would go for it, or England would go for it, really, because Canada still has ties to the English crown. All right, guys, I want to change gears and talk about this movie. And we'll finish up on this. I've already been going. Holy cow! I've already been going 45 minutes. That was fast 45 minutes. So we'll start going into this because this is worth talking about. This movie is crazy. There's so much to talk about in there. Hey, welcome, Mike, to a Basic Supporter. Appreciate you joining. So there's no way Biden could sell it. You'd have to have it Congress put off on it. Plus, selling a state might even need the states to sign off on it, like an amendment to the Constitution. So I just don't see that would ever happen. Can we sell Hawaii? I don't think so. You guys are going real wild tonight. There's no way. But anyways, before I get started on this, I want to know have many of you watched this movie yet? This Leave the World Behind movie? Because if not, maybe I should just play part of the trailer real quick. So that you guys kind of get a feel for it. Because I know not that many people are into movies like I am, but this has been all over the place lately because it's such a crazy, crazy movie. It's got everybody talking. It's just blown up the Twitter. So now, I've seen the National Debt and Cantrix, but they're not selling anything. Trust me, it's more valuable to hold on to them. See this scene in bed because they're not worried about paying it off in Cantrix. That's where you and I disagree. They're not worried about paying off the national debt. See the scene in bed where they say you can't trust anybody, especially white people. Oh yeah, Vin, I saw the whole movie. It's crazy. Been eating oatmeal with cinnamon and honey every day for 2 months. Not really losing weight, but I appear to be losing fat. That's awesome. That's all that matters. Lose the fat, gain muscle. Texas and Alaska seceded from the Union, became the United States would get wrecked. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Texas would do it before Alaska does. Alaska is actually very, very dependent on the federal government. Fans, dictators censor speech, try to jail political opponents. Yeah, that's true. Movie was a trip, huh? Okay, yeah. It was a good movie. It's very interesting. Would sell Hawaii and Biden would send money to fix it. He would rather spend cash. 49ers 75 to 3. No, the Cardinals are tougher than you look, especially because they have Kyler playing. It'll be like 38 to 15, something like that. Buying Greenland, yeah. Here, let's watch this. I don't think I can get dinged for playing a trailer. John, you say no spoilers. It's kind of hard. It's not like there's really little to spoil. Pretty much the whole movie's in there. What's spoiling is what we're going to be talking about, but there's no like twists or anything. So, but if you really want to watch the movie and you're afraid of it being spoiled, I don't think it's the kind of movie that's being spoiled. I think you could still watch it even after. But if you're worried about that, you might not want to watch this because I am going to go into some deep dive stuff on it because it's worth breaking down. So I'm just warning you guys of that now. Would it financially make sense for Finger to move forward with Univest before or after market crash? I would say probably it doesn't matter. It just matters when Finger's running. Alaska's nice. I believe Alaska could be nice. If it wasn't so cold, I would consider being up there. A few years ago, Putin said Alaska had a 100-year lease with USA. It was almost due back to Russia. We'll see. Perfect movie to depict Hillary. In the movie, I thought that crop duster plant was dropping blood at first. Yeah, I did. I thought that too. Or a poison. Watching that movie after we squeeze. Wall Street, great movie. Can't wait. Survival of the fittest. There are far too many consumers, not nearly producers. Well, that's kind of sad. Wall Street. I don't want anybody to die, even though, I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't want to kill people off. Movie could be the real life version. I mean, it's about a cyber attack. Yeah, the Obamas did. Yeah, come back, Dave. Come back and watch it later. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can leave now, and come back and watch this later for the discussion. But yeah, the Obamas produced it. It's directed by the same guy who did Mr. Robot. And Mr. Robot is completely predictive programming. I mean, it's fascinating and great. I like the director. He's a hardcore lib, but it doesn't mean it wasn't a great show. For those of you who watch Mr. Robot. But so yeah, directed by Mr. Robot, produced by the Obamas. They had all kinds. They had their hands all over this movie from everything I've seen. But yeah, it's about a cyber attack that wipes out internet. The power doesn't go out, but all internet communication systems and like airplanes and stuff go out. The Teslas get hacked and they're self-driving and crashing. It's good night, Barbara. It's just absolute insanity. But they leave little nuggets along the way that make you think, what? Like, so what I think this movie is really doing, because did you guys know that yesterday when this movie came out, I think yesterday was the first day, maybe it came out over the weekend, but I thought the first I started hearing about it was yesterday. So maybe I just wasn't paying attention on the weekend. But anyways, whether it came out Friday or yesterday, it doesn't matter. Yesterday, there was a cyber attack all over the U.S. And it's a Chinese cyber attack. And I want to make sure I pull it up right, but it hit Texas. It hit a lot of the oh, it's not letting me search it now. That's interesting. Maybe I got to put it together as one word. Did I spell something wrong? Oh, no, it won't let me pull it up. That's fun. That's not shady at all. When you can't pull it up. Yeah, there it is. Sorry, guys. I want to pull this up. I want to find the post I had up. But, first of all, I mean, here's Klaus Schwab warning about a cyber attack. Okay. Just last year. All right. He's warning about it. And then yesterday, a cyber attack hit Texas's grid, and it was spattered across the U.S. But, there's been warnings of a major cyber attack for a long time. And then, of course, this movie comes out right after World Economic Forum's talking about it. All kinds of shady stuff. And then there's other, like, crazy things in this movie. Like, right here, they show this map of the cyber attack. This is on the screen. This was in the preview, so I'm not spoiling too much. But this is supposed to be all the areas blacked out. The whole U.S., okay? But you see this? They hit a QR code in there. And I don't know if anybody's checked that out yet, but it's just crazy. What are they trying to communicate? It's like, these are just weird things they put in the movie. And then here's little speeches like this. Okay, so I'm going to stop it as I get into it, but watch this.
I saw it, a while ago before all this happened. I looked at the market, and I knew something was coming.
Okay, did you see what he just said? I knew it was coming. I looked at the markets, and I could tell something was happening. What is happening right now? What have we been doing every day? We're watching the markets. I'm teaching you guys. I'm showing you guys the stories I see. It's all the markets because they're predictive of what's going on. And then he says it in this movie. And what he talks about, his buddy calls him. I can't remember what his job is in the movie, but the reason he knows something's coming is because his buddy, who's in the markets, he manages money, I think it is. His buddy calls him and says, "I want to pull everything out And he's like, why? What's going on? He's like, trust me, something's coming. And it's very cryptic, but it's all about the stock market and how these guys know ahead of time. And he later gives a speech, which is really funny, but he's like, oh, you think a group of people make all this happen? He's like, no, it's scarier. It's that we don't control anything. And we don't control anything. So how's he say it? He's like, so the best you can get is just a heads up. And I was like, first of all, that doesn't make any sense, because if you didn't know what was coming, if somebody wasn't controlling it, how would you even get the heads up? And secondly, it's such an obvious speech trying to say like, hey, if this happens though, don't blame us. We didn't do anything of it. And remember, this is all under the auspices of, under the banner of the fact that the Obamas produced this. Isn't this? This is craziness. It's absolutely craziness. So then in the movie, their kid gets sick. He wakes up sick after going through stuff. And they say he got a tick bite. He's like, I've seen this happen in Lyme disease before. And the kid wakes up and he spits out blood, and then his teeth start falling out. And then check this out. This just came out. There's 3 dead from Rocky Mountain spotted fever. This just came out.
The size of deer ticks. They don't have the white spot, and it takes only 4 to 6 hours if they're on you and they have Rocky Mountain spotted fever to transmit it. And by the way, about 5% of them have it. So it's very tricky to find it, to get it in time. And dogs, one more thing, prefer humans. The dog tick, rather. The dog tick prefers to be on a human to a dog, so it will hop from the dog to the human. Very tricky for us to...
So they're warning us about, like, they're doing the kid gets bit by a tick in the movie. And then that happens today. That comes out. And listen, maybe some of this is slightly coincidental. I don't really believe in coincidences, but this stuff just doesn't make sense. It's so crazy. And then when you see this, let me get this up here. Hold on. This just blew my mind when I saw this. So in the movie, the little girl, she's a huge fan of the show Friends, even though she's like 10 years old in our modern age. And she's a huge fan of the show Friends. Julia Roberts once dated Matthew Perry, who just died, right? Okay, so Matthew Perry just passed away. And he passed away... Oops. He passed away on October 28th, okay? 2023. Well, look what Julia Roberts' birthday is. You can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. So I'm not going to go through every little thing in the movie, but I hope I've already whet your guys' appetite. But like, there's some things that you see, and you can't help but know they're showing you something. There's imagery throughout the whole movie. I gave you guys literally a few, like 5 little things out of 100 in the movie. There's so much in this movie. The ship that crashes on the shore is called the White Lion, and the White Lion was the ship that brought the one of the original ships that brought slaves over, and it's called then the TV station is 1619, like the 1619 Project. So they're throwing that all at you, okay? And also White Lion is a beast coming out of the ocean, which is, a lot of people believe in Revelation. That's an Antichrist story, which I don't believe that, but enough people do where it's going to mean something to them. And but also I don't believe this is like Bible-fearing people who put that in there. I believe it's the other side, propagandists who are basically saying like, hey, get ready. This is craziness. But they're basically wanting us to prepare for the end of the war. And then ultimately towards the end, it starts building to what they're talking about, that's leading to a civil war, which, just adds to it. But then I I'll show you guys this. So they do start talking about how in a civil war is coming. Some of it's right here. See, it's the Democrat family's all blues, the Republican family red. This guy he's like the prepper, and they go to his house for help, and he holds them up at gunpoint. So it shows like them fighting against each other. But and here's the ship, the White Lion ship. Okay, it says White Lion right here. Here's the slave ship. Here's the beast, the ocean. I mean, it's full of this, the entire movie. But there's something else I want to show you guys. So this movie coming out soon, where let me see. Yeah, here it is. This movie's coming out in spring. Okay, Civil War. Alex Garland. Alex Garland has done like Ex Machina. He did the TV show. What's it called? Anyways, it's a show about like technology telling the future. It's really good, actually. He did Annihilation, but anyways, his new movie coming out is Civil War, and this is right after this movie comes out. So anyways, it's insane. Like, you guys got to check out this movie so we can maybe talk more about it. But I want you to see this just so you could get those of you who've watched it, we could talk about it a little bit, and those who haven't watched it could whet your appetites to go check it out, because it's crazy. So all right, let me catch up with you guys. No internet, how do we watch Ace? Matt, appreciate that being your first thought. People start stocking up because of the movie. I mean, some might. Honey Badger, don't trust Whitey. Wokeism promoted made racism worse. I 100% agree. Wall Street Ponzi, don't get me wrong, I don't want people to die. Those pure consumers now will be forced to find out how the rest of us live. Yeah, okay, so I agree with you on that, Wall Street. I think what's going to happen, in my opinion, the best case scenario is those of us prepared make out really well. And those consumers that are, good people, just have been ignorant, they're going to wake up in this, and we're going to be able to help them, And I know a lot of good people that are not on the level of preparing or understanding this stuff like we are. A lot of good people. They just haven't had time for it, or they're older. They trust institutions. You can't break it. So that's why, and obviously there's going to be the jerks and the a-holes out there, and they'll get their just due because nobody will help them. But I just don't want, to hope death for everybody and all that. Mad Max says it's all fear talk from China. It needs U.S. Mad Max, I don't disagree with you about China as much. I think, and this is one thing they say in the movie, it comes from within. I don't think it's China doing all this, although I do think China likes to mess with us because we're messing with them. But I think this is our own, whether you want to call it government or you want to call it people above the government. But I do believe, and you can use whatever word you want. I don't necessarily like the word cabal, but I do believe there's a large amount of very rich people and people who have been behind the scenes of many things in history over the last several hundred years, and they're all in on it. And they own politicians and they own celebrities and all that. And I believe they're the ones who want to do this to us. And in the movie, they confuse the people by sending these tracts down that say "Death to America," and it's written in Islam. Well, then towards the end of the movie, when they go to Kevin Bacon's house, who's the hardcore Republican guy with a gun, they ask him who's doing it. He's like, well, I'll tell you. He's like, it's North Korea or it's China. He's like, but it's from over there. And they're like, well, what about this? And they hand him the tract, and he just starts laughing. And he says, my buddy from the West Coast, he said they sent tracts written in Korean. And he's like, I know. He's like, and he fought in the Middle East. He would know if it was this. And so basically they're sending on each coast, they're sending different kinds, like it's from different countries attacking them to confuse everybody. And that's how, and then Mahershala Ali says at the end that he knows it's coming from within. So very crazy stuff. Oh, and then the end. Well, I won't tell you guys what happens at the end of the movie. We can talk about that later because there's a lot of people I haven't watched. But it basically, I won't tell you what happens, but I can tell you the message. I won't. Well, no, I won't. We'll talk about that another time. Al, we have to be realists. Over the past several decades, many have been warning about us economic collapse. They're mostly doing so for personal gain, but that is very true. You're absolutely right about that, Al. You're absolutely right about that. But the signs are there now in a way they never were before. So, and it has happened a couple times. Cantrix, who are you talking to? Will not sell my stock regardless. I don't think a cyber stock would kill our stock. So, believe that's why they keep illegally shorting. They know they're going to shut things down. Yep. Lots of subliminal messaging in the movie. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding me of that, Frank. The girl's wearing a NASA shirt and the boy's wearing a shirt that says obey on it. That's, yeah. Al, at 7 years old, experienced recession and depression. You'd be surprised how Americans can integrate. I agree with you, Al. I just think it's going to be worse this time because this time our government is so compromised in a much worse way. And our economy is not like it used to be, where it was mostly decentralized and most of our manufacturing and stuff was here. If you say you've been through depression at 70, you must be talking about the 70s. That's the last time we were really close to depression. And at that point, we still were doing most of our manufacturing here. The economy is much, much more reliant now. We're much more of a consumerist economy than we were back then. So we are not designed to survive a depression. And the last recession you lived through, Al, I lived through too, is that it was only beaten. It only didn't turn into a depression because they were able to lower rates to zero and they were able to flood the markets with trillions of dollars. They cannot do either this time because of inflation and because of the high rate of the debt. You've heard they're going to use infected tis as an excuse to kill the cattle supply. We'll see. Yeah, Julia Roberts was in Friends for an episode or two. You're welcome, AC. Have a good night. TikTok was a real cyber attack. Well, I don't disagree with you there. TikTok's terrible. Ex Machina was freaky. It was, but it was a great movie. It was a great movie. Do I buy into Q? That's a loaded question. I don't buy into what most have come. I don't buy into a lot of the stuff that's talked about that's come out of Q. I'll say that, but we'd have to talk about it another time. Ace observation is so important. When you have no idea what's in store, the biggest losers. Sometimes it takes a slap across the head to wake up. Absolutely, Al. Tom FP, it would be an easy way for the elites in charge of the world, all the money to stop wealth transfer. Effective way. Well, and that's interesting, Tom. See, I don't think they can stop anything. So this is one thing I was talking about the other day, is that the wealth transfer, which I believe is coming because of this correction we're going to be going through, because they've designed a system that is falling and cannot survive much longer. I don't believe anything can stop that. So that's number one. And number two, these cyber attacks that would happen, it was very interesting today. I spent, I told you guys I was fumbling around on ChatGPT, and I was asking about the economy. I also asked it about cyber attacks, and it was really interesting. ChatGPT said that, and it pulls information from all over the internet. So it's not 100% accurate, but it's mostly accurate. Like, especially if you're not asking political questions. If you're actually asking like pretty straightforward questions, it can be pretty honest and give you good information. And it was saying that cyber attacks in our country should at the most only last a few days unless they physically attack the grids. And he said that, and it said that could last longer. But this is interesting, which I did not know. I asked it about the difference between an electrical cyber attack and an internet one, and it actually said that it would be very difficult to do any kind of cyber attack against the internet that would last for a long period of time. It said it would be very difficult because the internet is so decentralized. So I thought that was very interesting and actually very hopeful. And listen, when I say I think these are predictive programming, these movies, I believe that, but I also think they rarely can do things as big as the predictive programming is. It's mostly for fear. And so to me, it's like they will try some of this stuff and they're trying to pre-program us ahead of time. But it's rarely as bad or on the scale of what we're presented with. So there is still facts versus fiction. You got COVID? Sorry, Steven. Al says, our government may be compromised. We, the people, wake up and revolt. I agree with you, Al. In fact, I said just last night that I believe we're currently in the second revolution. We've started the second revolution. We're not in a civil war. We're in a revolution. But here's the thing, like going back to this right here, this is what they want us to believe. They want us to think we're in a civil war because they want us to pick sides and fight each other. Instead of knowing they're the enemy, they want us to see each other as the enemy. But this isn't happening. It's not happening. But why do you think the culture wars are so ramped up on social media and stuff? It's because this is what they want. But here's the truth. All those crazy people you see on social media saying all that insane stuff that just riles you up and gets us so angry, it's very few people. We're talking 5 to 15% of the population. It is not most people. And you want proof of this? Dylan Mulvaney, the crazy trans person, just went to Penn State, I think it was, to do a speech. Paid, I think they were paid like $100,000. He was paid, and I will say he, because he's a he. He was paid like $100,000 to go there. And you know how many people showed up? It's this big old auditorium, completely empty except for the 2 front rows. There was only like 25 people there. It is not as big a problem as the news wants you to think it is, but they do that on purpose. They want us to fight each other. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Q stuff here because everything Q gets kicked off the platform, even if you're giving a more measured evaluation of it. So we'll have to talk about that maybe in a members live or maybe on Rumble. GTI will make us rich. I do believe that. Mike, Ace, they took off the obey shirt in the movie. They had on a shirt that moved it. Isn't that weird? You're right, Mike. They absolutely did, which is a very weird choice because they easily could have removed it with CGI if they didn't want to keep it on there. So why was it on for a bit and then off later? Because it was the same shirt. You could tell because it was a gray shirt. It's just weird. Black Right Eye Club, yep. Al, you were in a very high position in Arizona militia. Many ask why the militia does nothing in environment answers. None of the people have asked for the intervention. Interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Al. That's interesting. Clive Bundy asked for help and he got it. Is that the guy that was in Vegas? Or Nevada? Yeah, the movie about the bird flu came out before COVID. Yeah, and so did the movie Contagion back in 2011, which, if you go back and watch the movie Contagion, it is very similar to what happened in COVID. They did lockdowns, masks, I think they did. They did social distancing. It's all in the movie Contagion. It's crazy. Can't have internet if there's attack on electrical good. You're right, Matt. But in the movie, they had electricity, which I thought was interesting. Artuk, Ace, any thoughts on the class action suit filed against Gensler by members of Wall Street? My wife's home, so I won't be on much longer, guys. My thoughts are that they don't want the short selling to happen. So that, and you're right. I'm glad you brought that up because I did want to cover that real quick too. They are terrified of these new rules, and even these rules won't completely stop what they're doing, but it'll slow it down. And they're I believe the rules they're suing over are rules that are going into effect soon, because I think these are the ones that were passed in because of GameStop. So yeah, what do I think is going to happen? I think the hedge funds are going to lose badly. I really do. But I think this is a last-ditch attempt to, they're hoping more than anything else, in my personal belief, I think they're hoping to kick the can down the road a little bit to stall it. Because I really don't think they can win this. But yeah, that's what I think about it. Honey, plant your victory garden this spring for sure. Yes, please do. I really do believe that's necessary. Incantrix. Actually, Incantrix, you say it was 5%. It's actually closer to 30%. But your point remains that it was done by the minority, not the majority. But yeah, it was closer to 30%. Did I ask about the effects of electromagnetic pulse? No, but I don't need to. I know what that is. Yeah, that would wipe out stuff further, for sure. Al, for those who may be curious, do a Google search on your state militia. You may be surprised. Most militia members gone through at least 2 hours of field duty. We're professionals. Interesting. No internet, no ace. That's funny. You're welcome, Katie. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it is my anniversary, and my wife is now home. So I was able to give you guys an hour and 20 minutes on my anniversary. So that's pretty amazing. And thank God my wife and we have a big date planned Saturday. Kids are going to be out of the house, and we're going down to Charlotte, and they're being watched. And then in January, we're actually going out of town. So we're going to do a double it up for our anniversary. I'm really excited about it. But okay, Incantrix, you're right about that. You're right about that. 5% actually fought. I will give you that. But they had the support of 30%. So yeah, okay. But yeah, if you're talking about actually fought, of course it's not the full 30%. There was old guys, there was women, children, all that. So yes, I would agree with you there. But anyways, guys, yeah, I'm going to take off. I want to see my wife. Haven't seen her since lunch, and barely seen her at all today. And it's 15 years. So we're going to go celebrate. Appreciate you guys so much. As always, you guys stinking spoiled me last night with the anniversary donations. So that's going to definitely help fund our trip coming up. Help buy us lunch today. So yeah, you guys are the absolute best. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a little different with going into the movie, but sometimes these things come up, and I think it's too interesting not to talk about, and it gives us another flavor. As my channel continues to stay focused on winning the fight against Wall Street, especially in GTII and FNGR, that will still remain my number one focus. And I will talk about that every single night, but I also will continue to be broadening the content because we need more to talk about. There's only so much news we can go on, and most of you all are educated on that stuff now. So, and there's just a lot going on in the world, especially going into 2024. So it's going to get crazy, and I want us all prepared as much as possible. So you guys have an awesome, awesome night, and I plan on seeing you till tomorrow. So have a great night, guys. Love you.